Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Mason from the Raw Life Health Show. You know, winter is upon us now, and so many people are asking about my daylight diet. They say they can do it in the summertime because the sun goes down like 8 or 9 o'clock. But how do I not eat in the wintertime when the sun goes down about 4:30 or 5 o'clock? Well, it's not difficult to stop eating at 5 o'clock if you're eating good nutritious food when you do eat, and if you're eating during the daytime hours. Now we want to remember the 3 stages to the daylight diet. Stage 1 is to just get out of the habit of eating during nighttime. Stage 2 is get out of the habit of eating during nighttime and not overeating during the daytime. And then finally stage 3 is to not eat at nighttime. Not only not overeating in the daytime, but only eating 2 times a day. So you can gradually work up to this. But how can we stop eating at nighttime, especially in the winter? Well, as I've been traveling all over the country, I'm in the middle of a book tour right now, I find it's easier for me and many other people to do the daylight diet in the winter time than it is in the summertime. Now that might sound backwards to people, but I know when it's the summertime and it's still light outside in the evening, I'm not too concerned or as concerned as in the wintertime. I know that sun is coming down at 5 p.m., so I'm going to eat before then. Well, as I've been traveling lately, sometimes I might eat more than 2 times a day, just picking food in the car if we have a long drive or something. And I always feel the results of that not as good as if I only eat 2 times a day. I was up in Toronto with a good friend of mine who's been doing this, eating twice a day for over 30 years. And we were just talking about this because it's found in the teachings of Ellen White, a lady who wrote some amazing health books and some other great books. And she basically said it there. And this man has been following this for over 30 years. And I am telling you, everyone out there, that I not only don't eat it when it's dark outside, but I only eat 2 times a day right now. And in the summertime, I might eat 3 times a day if it's, I might have another meal because the days are a little bit longer. But I never feel as good as when I do what I'm doing right now. So I'm eating 2 times a day, and I just feel amazing. I mean, when I do eat, I make sure I'm getting the food that's going to, number 1, it's going to satisfy me. And number 2, it's going to meet my nutritional requirements. Now, if you're eating higher quality food, you don't need to eat as much when you're eating low quality food. Even though you're taking in a lot of food, you're not basically giving your body the nutrients that it needs to thrive. So you want to make sure you're choosing your meals wisely. Now, the other question I get is, how do we do that when we're on the road traveling? Well, we got to do the best we can do. I always say the best thing to do is grow your own food or know somebody who does. That's great. But for us, we do try to keep it simple. But I'm learning a lot of things as I'm on here on the road because it's been several years since I've been in such cold temperature for such an extended amount of time. You see, I would go somewhere for a weekend, but then I would come back to sunny Florida. But now we're right in the middle of a road trip where we were in Buffalo, we were in Canada, and then we were in Michigan, and then Chicago, and now we're in Kansas City, and we were in St. Louis. So how am I maintaining this in the cold weather? Well, I absolutely dislike the cold weather. But for my diet, I'm just eating twice a day. And something very interesting happened because when I was coming out here, I bit the side of my cheek and I couldn't chew. My mouth swelled up a little because I bit the side of my cheek, maybe from chewing too much or too fast. But I had a little inflammation there, so I couldn't really chew. So I went to the store and I wanted to get something to eat. Well, I didn't have many choices because I couldn't really eat fruits and vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables, because it was just too painful to chew for a couple of days. So what I decided to do was, number 1, I had chia pudding, or the chia seeds, the chia goodness cereal that I always recommend. Well, we've been eating that, and so I could have that and soak that for a while, and then that's really great, and it's very important to chew, but if you can't chew, what do? Well, that's where cooked food comes in, because I went to the store just today, and I wanted to get some produce, but I couldn't get the produce because it would have went to waste because I couldn't chew it. And it's important to chew your food. Now, the chia pudding is just absolutely wonderful. It's just great. Chia seeds, I can't say enough about them. But I wanted another meal. Well, I got some steamed vegetables, and I was able to chew them, and it worked fine in this environment. So cooked food is not as bad as people think it is. Raw food is the best, but I also did some juicing, some juices. But basically, I had a learning experience here on this tour. I was traveling, eating a little bit more often than I would like, but still during the daytime hours. But as the sun started to come down earlier, I didn't worry. I just knew, and I remember from last year, I just enjoy the winter, the sun coming down earlier from a diet standpoint. Now, I love daylight. I love when the days are longer, but from a diet standpoint, it sounds backwards, but if anyone out there has been doing the daylight diet successfully, you can probably appreciate what I'm saying here is, even though the sun's coming down at 5 o'clock in the winter time, it's more easier to do it now than to do it in the summertime. So a question I get all the time is, well, I can do it in the summer, but you mean I got to stop eating at 5 o'clock in the winter? Exactly. You see, in the summertime, the food that grows locally, which we should be eating if we can help it, is food that digests pretty easy, but it's very light. So we can eat a little bit longer. It's light outside, the food's light, the food's not as heavy. But in the wintertime, the foods that grow locally should be heavier, so they sustain us longer. See, our Creator didn't make any mistakes when He made the seasons and the food that grows in certain areas and everything else. So the food is heavier, so it sustains us longer, so we can eat less and be better off. You see, in the wintertime, it's better to get to sleep earlier because it's darker earlier. And we're working harder in the wintertime. There's more stress on our body in the wintertime. With the summer times, things aren't as stressful, or they shouldn't be because the sun is out and so on. So we could talk more later about the big connections between the sun and the warm weather and the cold weather. And also the cleansing that takes place when the moon is out, and the moon's usually out when it's dark. So, you know, that's another important topic that I'll discuss another time in another video. It's that in the winter time, you know, a lot of cleansing takes place because the moon is out more than the sun, where in the summertime it's the opposite. And, you know, we need sunlight for vitamin D and so on, but the moon is a very cleansing effect on our bodies. It has an effect on all the waters of the planet, including the waters of our body. And I talk about this in my book, The Daylight Diet, everybody. So, now the other thing, people started asking me a lot of questions. Where are my Q&As? Because every Friday I was doing Q&A. I will be back doing them again. I'm just on the road here, and I'm really working overtime to squeeze out these videos. And I just can't get to the Q&A as much as I would like now, but I will get to them. So keep those questions coming, and I'm keeping them, and we'll get to them. And if anyone has any questions, comments, or anything like that, post them below the video. And if you're in the Kansas City area, I will be speaking tomorrow night in Independence, Missouri. And on the weekend, I'm going down to Ava, Missouri. And then on December 24th and December 25th, I am going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So if anyone is out there, December 24th and December 25th, I'm going to be doing an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then from there, we're going to make our way back to Florida and doing talks along the way. You can go to my website, paulneeson.com, and you can see all the tour dates where we'll be. And if you want me to come speak for you in 2011, just contact us at the website, and we'll be happy to set something up. Until then, everybody, have a great day and have a great Raw Life.
This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, bright and